So this is the good, the bad, and the clunky of Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. There are many good things about this game, but the first one is going to be the storyline itself. You're going to get the nostalgic feel of playing the original Final Fantasy VII, and the only gripe you're going to have about the story is that you're going to want more because it's not fully released yet. But as far as games go, that's a good place to be in. Another good thing about the game is the free-to-play friendliness of it. Stamina is easy to come by, and at the current time, and probably for a while, there's going to be a lot of free and bonus events and campaigns going on. The next good thing is actually the combat system itself. The auto combat seems to be working out really well, and most of the time seems to be performing better than I would. This leads to events and things like that being pretty simple and easy, and the events themselves are actually a good part because they're extremely rewarding. Not only can you get rare weapons and weapon parts, but you can get a lot of materials easily. And that leads us to the bad. Whenever you achieve anything of note in the game, you'll be prompted to make a purchase at that time, and this purchase will be also limited time. This is at the very least obnoxious, if not bordering on predatory, especially given the fact that there's so many other passes and basically any form of monetization you can have in a game available to you already. So at the very least, that'll create an unsavory condition for most players. Now going on to the next bad thing is actually the synthesis system, which is a bit difficult. The system is used to make different materia that you'll need in different fights. Now when you go ahead and create different materia, it has a range of different stars and a range of different substats, meaning that getting the right one is be really difficult to do. You can add materials to your materia when you're synthesizing to increase the chances of getting the ones you want, but you can only add 10 of each type of material. They're also hard to come by, with the most influential one, the best one, being not even listed of how to get it. This brings us to the next bad aspect of the game, which is actually getting the materials themselves. All the materials are available to you to level up and stuff like that, except for maybe a couple. But the problem comes from the inability to sweep or fast clear to farm the materials that you need. Instead, you'll be choosing to use triple stamina and go through the entire fight actively. This just feels very outdated. And that brings us to the clunky, basically things that we hope will be addressed and changes that we made to make the game better. The first thing is the materia and the weapon system in combination. All weapons are available at varying odds just based on what you draw. Sometimes that's cool, sometimes that's bad, but at the same time you want your weapons to be influential. The problem is that most of the weapon abilities seem to be the same as the materia themselves, but they also cost more energy to use, so in effect, less efficient. There are weapons that have unique abilities, which make them more valuable compared to other things, but for the most part this is rare. And the problem, or the reason why this feels so clunky, is that there's a lot of design space here available. Not only can abilities be changed, but their effect on materia can be unique, such as Sigil Boost 1, and I just hope to see more of that. This brings us yet to another clunky aspect of farming, which is simply when you start farming for nano cubes, which are required to level up weapons to some higher tiers, you'll basically be making farming other areas obsolete. This could be a good thing because that means you don't need to farm it at all, which would be nice, but it could also be done maybe in a better way. Which leads us to the menus themselves, which are by far clunky, and gear exchange or enhancement exchange, which you'll probably be doing a lot, is not actually available on the main menu, and exchanging itself is not exactly the easiest since you can only do 2 at a time at this moment. This then leads us to the development notes themselves, or notices of defects, which are pretty common. Now these days most games have bugs on launch or issues, and they are doing their due diligence and communicating with the community and notifying us that they are aware and what their plans are. And that concludes the good, the bad, and the clunky of Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis at this time. I would love to hear your experiences in the comments below, if you found certain aspects to be bad or good, or if you want things to be changed. After all, the more that we know, the more that we share, the better we can make this experience for all of us. Thank you for watching.